if you've got a big gash, you're going to need several different things. You might need to kind of a light toss, a gentle toss.
Is that your relationship
Yeah.
advice? Just one gentle toss.
Yeah. First aid kits,
We've all seen them.
but this one might save your relationship.
So we all know the types of things you might find in a first aid kit. Maybe you've got plasters, bandages, medication, tweezers, that kind of thing. What else have you got in there, Mark?
So in this one, we've got some shears, we've got some kind of big dressings, there's some saline solution. The first aid kits will change depending on their use and what you're needing them for. So in this case, we've got a Mountain Leader first aid kit. That's going to be different compared to a St John's Ambulance first aid kit, or maybe one that's in your office or at home or in your car. We dip in and out of a first aid kit as and when we need it, and we know this with our physical health. If we've got a small cut, we might go and get a plaster. If we've got a bigger wound that needs further first aid, we might be using bigger dressings. We might need some kind of solution to be able to clean those out. Maybe we even need to go to hospital. So it's that kind of interim step. We know this with our physical health. We don't often think about our mental health or our emotional health in the same kind of way. We don't have tools and resources that we can go to help soothe it in that way. So during this video, we're going to build out your first aid kit, and even better, it's completely free.
Your emotional first aid kit is a collection of your go-to tools when you're feeling flooded, shut down or angry, or even just after a tricky day at work, a tough conversation with family, or things are just getting a bit stressful. When our nervous systems get activated and we go into fight, flight or freeze, we can take that stress out on one another, and knowing what calms you, what to reach for in that first aid kit, can help avoid that pattern. Our body gives us clues when we're activated, and you might have already identified some of these doing your stress signpost, and if you haven't,
Click the link here.
but it's important to know that we need tools to bring us back to safety, and just like you might grab a plaster for your cut, you can grab some items out of your emotional first aid kit to help you with that.
So this is the first aid kit. You can download it for free in the link below, or alternatively just draw it out on a piece of paper. As we spoke at the beginning of this video, we know what to grab in a physical first aid kit. There's plasters for little nicks, all the way up to maybe a tourniquet for major trauma and blood loss. So there's a full kind of range of things, and we're going to try and look at that in this first aid kit too. So I'm going to give some examples of what I've got in my first aid kit. Feel free to use some of these if they relate to you, or you're going to have different things in yours too. So Alex, do you mind being my scribe for me, please? So you can draw these out if you want, you can write them in. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It's just making it really visual and really obvious for you to be able to look at that time of need, everything that Alex was saying, that time of panic or that time of worry, time of stress, to be able to reach in, grab what you need and go and do it. So some of the examples that perhaps are on mine is guitar. That's probably one of my main ones. I really enjoy playing guitar, and going off and just having 20 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, to go and play my guitar gives me that bit of first aid. It just gives me that, okay, I get to kind of come down, decompress. Another one would be coffee. So I really enjoy coffee. Going out and getting a coffee or making one at home is definitely part of my first aid kit. Another thing would be time outside. So going in for a walk with the dogs, or spending time outside is really important. Surfing for me, it's a really big part of my life. Going out and having a surf, and when the waves are there, is a big part of in my first aid kit.
What about stuff in the house? I guess you've got guitar, but is there other stuff that you could do if it was rubbish weather or...
I think doing creative things I really tend to enjoy. So doing something creative, maybe making something, is definitely in there. Gives me that kind of headspace. And I think while we're talking about headspace, distraction for the sake of buying yourself headspace back, I think isn't necessarily distraction. You've given yourself time to think about whatever has caused you to need to go into the first aid kit in the first place. Clients, whenever I'm doing this exercise with them, often ask me, can I put alcohol there? Or if they use drugs, can I put those bits down? My answer to that would be, if it's within moderation and it's buying that headspace back for you, then that's okay. If it's a glass of wine or two, that's absolutely fine. If you're sculling a couple of litres of vodka, probably not the best kind of first aid. So use that.
You might need first aid.
Use that to your discretion. If you want to put anything kind of like that in there and that's what you partake in, then just within moderation. And again, in line with what we were saying about buying headspace back.
I guess one of the things that I've noticed for you, Mark, is listening to music. When you've got busy head, that always brings...
I think music, putting a pair of headphones on, I think is a big part of my first aid kit. And I think while you're talking about music, I think my music changes depending on where I'm at as well. If I'm kind of low levels, maybe I'm dipping in and just needing a plaster out of this first aid kit, it could be any type of music. But if I'm needing to go in and get a big bandage because there's some huge kind of things going on in life, that type of music and genre that I'm listening to is going to change, which might be just kind of worth noting if you're a big music fan. Be aware of what you're listening to and when. Cooking, I think, is a really big one on there. I really enjoy my food, and so being able to spend some time cooking in the kitchen and maybe enjoy making a new recipe, that's always good fun. Again, some of these things will go together, so for me, putting some music on while I'm cooking is a big part of releasing some of that tension, I think.
And I guess we've got a bit of a range here, don't we? Because we've got the plasters up to the bandages. But are there any more plasters, any more 5-10 minute things that if you notice you're just starting to spike, that you might reach for?
I think a little bit of screen time perhaps. So sometimes just jumping on YouTube and watching my favourite kind of channel on there, that often offers a little bit of, it's a quick thing that you can access. Doesn't necessarily always buy me that headspace necessarily, but it just gives me that little bit of time to regulate. A lot of these things that we're talking about, it's stuff that happens behind the surface, or under the surface, I should say. It's things that are going on behind the scenes within us that we have to work really hard to be aware of and understand. Oh, I don't feel quite right, and I can't put my finger on why. Using some of these things can be really useful. I think going to the gym and any form of exercise is hugely important for me in terms of that first aid kit. And going in the sauna as well, having that dedicated time and space. And so time, I guess, is a big one on the first aid kit, to give myself permission for that time. Life gets really busy. If you've got children or you've got pets, or you've got loved ones that depend on you, and jobs, there's various things that might absorb a lot of your time. Giving you that time back, I think, is really important. If you've got a major physical injury you've picked up while you're out walking, for example, there's no point just keep walking with that without addressing it. It's going to get worse. You're going to potentially end up in a more dangerous situation. It's the exact same with this first aid kit. Is giving yourself that time to be able to focus on yourself recharges you and stops you kind of depleting. Another thing is probably time with you, Alex. I think having a cuddle on the sofa or with the dogs is a really nice kind of warm feeling, and so that would definitely be in the first aid kit. Time with loved ones is maybe on there. Phoning a friend and having a good chat or meeting up with a mate, that's often on there. What other things do you think for other people might be examples on the first aid, do you think?
I think one of the things for me is sitting down and reading my book or watching a film that I've watched 100 times before that's really familiar. If I'm feeling like right up here needing that bandage, I want something familiar but that can keep my attention.
A favourite TV programme or something like that. So once you've got this list out, this is going to look different for every kind of person. Hopefully you're sat there and you want to do this, and encourage you to write this out. Do it with your partner as well. Do your own first aid kits. Next, we're going to put some numbers on there. So if we think of a first aid kit like we showed earlier, bandages are probably a level 1. A tourniquet, which we didn't show on the video, but maybe big bandages, they'd be level 9, 10. That's major first aid that you're more than likely going to have to go to hospital after that. You're going to need something further. So if we think about life and these things in these emotional first aid kits, we kind of link it up. So we're going to go through and just number these. 1 being a plaster, just so a small little cut, all the way up to a level 10 being major trauma. We've got to do something really big here. So I think for me, on the level 1, if you don't mind just popping the numbers next to Alex, the coffee is probably just a level 1. Some of these exist all through the ranges, so I think gym would probably be levels 1 to probably 8. I'd have to be really stressed to not want to be going to the gym. Guitar, again, probably sits through 1 to probably all the way, maybe 1 to 9. I would reserve, personally for me, I would reserve a level 10 for something major, and so maybe that's the loss of a loved one or some major life event that feels completely overwhelming, and that would be a breakaway. I'm kind of need to move away from the situation. You get the idea. We're going to go through, you're going to list all these and put a number on there, and then once we've got this first aid kit, make it big, colourful, do whatever you want with it so it really stands out. I'd invite you to take a photo of this, save it on your phone, stick it up on the fridge, put it there so this becomes a living document for you. It's something you can access all the time, because we need it almost on a daily basis. We're constantly dipping in and out, or I know I certainly am, with my first aid kit to help with regulation. In the stress signpost video that we've talked about, that pointed to some of these things. This first aid kit is what you can do about it. So this is doing the practical steps that help soothe and help regulate and help calm us down. And they'll change as well. So we're dipping in and we're using maybe several of these things. If I've had a really kind of stressful day at work or kind of big meetings or various different things, I might need several of these things. I might need to go out for a walk and then come back and play my guitar and then maybe cook something really nice. And by the time I've done all those different things, I can feel myself coming down in terms of that stress level.
And I guess first aid kit is about the different tools. You might need an ibuprofen and a bandage, and then a antiseptic wipe to clean the wounds.
Exactly, that's it. We're stacking multiple things together. So we're not reinventing the wheel with this exercise. It's a very simple exercise. But have you ever stopped and thought about all these things and collectively put it together and go, oh, actually, this is my tool bag. This is my first aid kit. This is what I want to go into and do. So comment below one thing that always helps you to reset.
And as always, thank you for watching. Please like,
subscribe,
and comment.
We'll see you again on the next video. Such an aggressive toss-up.
You don't usually complain.
That's so going in as a bloop.